So welcome everyone to our November Computer Science Learning event. I hope you all had a nice, relaxing Thanksgiving break. And we welcome you to our event this month, which is on networks and the internet. And we also have some special guests from our complex areas to share what they learned at the recent CSTA virtual conference. So let's go to the next slide. So here we are, pictures of us. We're flowers in it. We were just having fun, and somehow we ended up with this garden of flowers with our faces in it. Don't ask how we ended up here, but we all like our pictures, and we're all flowers. So Alita will be here in the afternoon, but this morning we have Pam Kohara, Kamiki McKinley Roosevelt Complex Area Teacher, and Shane Asselstein, Pro City Waipahu Resource Teacher. And I'm Janine Nakakura. I'm a resource teacher in computer science and distance learning at OSID. And my colleague, Faith Ishihara, is the slide driver. And so she is operating the slides for us today. So everybody say hi. Hi. Okay. I think you only appear if you talk, right? No, or do we all appear? Is that only WebEx, Google? Anyway, next slide. So let's start off with the bell ringer. And this is, of course, related to our topic today. So why do we have technology glitches during virtual meetings? Okay. And I'm sure you've all had at least one during a virtual meeting. So why do you think we have technology glitches during virtual meetings? Okay. Put your answer in the chat. So I'm just talking to fill in some time while you're, trying to think about why we have technology glitches during virtual meetings, because the network is slow. There's an issue between the chair and the keyboard.
That's the person sitting there.
Oh, I didn't get that. Thank you for explaining that. Poor internet connection, wrong settings. My computer doesn't like me. Yes, of course, it doesn't like you. You need to be nicer to it, speak soft words and compliment it. Nice computer. My computer's overworked. It's the universe teaching us how to be flexible and think on our feet. Because it's a Monday update. Okay, great. A whole bunch of reasons why. And that's where, our problem solving comes in. So let's go to the next slide. So just to let you know, from our earlier sessions, we're covering the 5 core concepts of computer science. That's from the framework. And we have an agenda here. So if you click on the agenda link, the brown link, it will give you most of the slide, most of the resources and links to what we're presenting today. Sorry, I've got to update it a little bit. So it will be updated by the end of today. But pretty much most of the links that we'll be sharing with you today are in that agenda. Okay, so just click on that brown link and it will take you to the agenda. Okay, and then the 5 core concepts. By the way, could somebody put the agenda link into the chat while I'm talking? I'm not going to try to multitask, but if you could put the agenda link into the chat, that would be helpful for the rest of us. Okay, so here are the 5 core concepts. And again, we're focusing on networks and the internet, and our little pink square is a bit off. It should be on the second core concept, networks and the internet. Okay, and there's a link there to the framework. Okay, next slide. So here's a progression chart of the 5 core concepts, and on the left are the 5 core concepts. There's a backside also, so make sure you look on the back, and there's a link to that chart. And then the standards go across by grade bands from early elementary all the way to high school. Okay, so just letting you know that there are standards, and we're going to try to cover some today. But before we get to that, we have special guests today. Wow, somebody redid the slide. It looks really nice. Okay, so first we have Shane Asselstein, and then we'll have Pam Kohara present their takes from the CSTA virtual conference this past summer. And again, because of the networks and the internet, we were able to attend this virtual conference and come away with a bunch of great ideas. So let me hand it over to Shane.
All right. Thank you, Janine. So, what was really great about this opportunity then, and I thank the complex area, or sorry, the state CS teams for offering this up and sparking that idea. We actually were, you guys were able to sponsor 3 teachers to go, so we actually matched that in our complex area and sponsored three more. So we ended up sending 6 teachers. 2 of them really had some powerful, impactful. They all had great takeaways from the session, but these 2, I kind of picked these 2 out as their reflections. So this first one is from Cindy Takara at one of our high school, Waipahu High School. And what she was encouraging everybody to do was to take a look at the CSTA Honor Society. So if you are looking at expanding your computer science program at the high school intermediate level, you might want to take a look at this. And she's even added the apply link right there. You can see it at the bottom. But basically, this is a program run by CSTA. There's a lot of advantages to this, right? Students can then put this, of course, on their list of achievements they've accomplished through high school. Honor Society member, right? CSTA Honor Society member. Absolutely fantastic. Another way to learn from that and continue that learning throughout the year. So that was, take a look at what Cindy wrote in there. We're not going to, of course, read it because we only have a few minutes. So on the next slide, you'll see that we have Thaddeus Ordono. He's from Pro City High, and his takeaway was really more of a personal connection. He really connected to the fact, being a minority himself, he connected to the fact that so many of the keynotes and a lot of the presentations incorporated aspects of equity and inclusion, and when we think about computer science and in our state, we want to make sure that all students have access to computer science, right? Not just those that are in the more, the better neighborhoods or whatever you want to call it, right? The higher income neighborhoods, but rather all students. And that goes even for our special ed and EL students. And we are tracking that data on the dashboard. So it was really a great takeaway for him. He has, of course, suggested Amy Coe and Zaretta Hammond, their keynotes. So if you do have access to the CSTA conference videos, please go ahead and take a look at those. On the next slide, you'll see 3 things that I went to the conference, or at least quote unquote went to the conference. I attended virtually the conference and looking for specific things to advance our computer science program in our complex area. And here are 3 things that I took away. One is, of course, with the 3D modeling and 3D printing coming into play, how can computer science be impacted by that? How can we incorporate computer science? So the 3D modeling with code in BlocksCAD, as well as Tinkercad has now coding aspects to it as well, which is a fantastic way to teach students about variables and all kinds of different core computer science concepts. Code.org has released an AI and machine learning unit for the middle school or the CSD program, which can be used at middle school or at the high school level as an intro to computer science. This is now a 7th unit for this, which is absolutely amazing. And it's a really great unit put together to teach kids and get them ready for our new CTE programs. And then last is, of course, as everybody looks towards bringing computer science into their schools, one of the things they're going to ask is, well, what kind of curriculum is out there? Well, this was actually a session that was run by TEC on creating a rubric to evaluate computing curricula. And just so you guys all know, we're actually working on that as the CS Leads team as well. We're looking at coming up with a tool that we can help schools to determine whether a curriculum meets your needs or not. So that's really great, and we use that as a foundational session. And finally, just that reminder, that the CSD virtual conference, all of these sessions are now up. They're uploaded, all of the slide decks and all that. You look at that session recording picture right there, you can see how you can sort it by track, by concept, by keynotes, keywords, keynote speakers, or you can just go through this part, right, where it's actually all of the pages of all of them, and just see the fantastic range of sessions that were available this year. And if you don't have access, well, ask somebody that might have access to come and share with you maybe or something, and get access for next year. See if we can get you to come to the conference next year. All right, and that's kind of what I shared in a short, brief amount of time. Try to keep it short.
Thanks, Shane. So next is Pam.
Thanks, Shane. So Shane has given a good segue to these slides that I put together for you. What I did was because it was a virtual event, I was able to capture a lot of things onto another document, and so I did that through this thing which I call my own Pam's conference notes. I warn you, it's very long, but the intent of this is to just grab some of those things that I experienced through the conference, put in some of the links, which also when you go to one of the events, sometimes they give you their slide deck, and so I tried to capture that as well. And so the first few pages of this notes that I collected is a list of some of those companies that had participated in the event, and so you have access to all that information in one place. Okay, thank you. And then next, I wanted to share that at the conference itself, they were providing access to companies such as Bird Brain Technologies, who will give you a Finch loan program. So you can actually borrow equipment that they'll lend to you for a whole month. And that will teach you not only how to use the equipment, but also okay, but also how to code it. Okay, thank you. Next. Okay, and during the event, what we wanted to try to do is to capture um, those who went with us, their experiences. So I'm going to share a couple slides that are really through the lens of Kristen Ono, McKinley High School. And the reason why she was a part of this was she's very much unfamiliar with computer science, but she was very much intrigued by it. And so she was so happy that she could attend the event. Her favorite event was to visit the Amazon Fulfillment Center virtually. And so she got to experience that. And in doing that, okay, students were able to tour the facilities, and through that meet some of the workers, and through that experience those experience that they were able to talk to some engineers that are actually involved in the technology. The other cool thing is that during the tour, they also were exposed to a lot of vocabulary that's closely aligned to our computer science standards, things like hardware, software.
Oops,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
Hardware, software, and cloud computing, which has to do with our networks that we're talking about today, algorithms, and even databases. So, really cool opportunity, and you can still go. They always have tours, and you can actually sign up yourself if you want to experience it. Okay, next. Many of our schools have the microbit, and again, this is through Kristen's eyes. These things were new, so to be able to purchase very inexpensively a micro bit for maybe like $25 or less, and to go to their website and to get a whole bunch of ideas of how to use it is pretty exciting for her. Okay, so the site will offer you how to code in Block, as well as show you how you can make some of these things that you simulate into wearable technology. Okay, another similar tool is this thing called Civiltronics, which I never heard before, but this is another type of processor, and through this processor you can combine it with toolkits that they provide, and you code those toolkits, if you wouldn't mind, through this thing, so you can practice and code it and simulate the activity, and then you can actually build something with the toolkit that they provide with circuits and electronics. And then for those who, instead of block coding, wanted to learn a little bit about JavaScripting, this is the basics on JavaScripting offered through this company called Grasshopper. And they learn Java code, real simple, little challenges, and it helps them step up to coding. And they even have some unplugged activities. So these websites are really cool because it not only offers you the activities, but also the how-tos and the lessons that go with and the process that they use. Here's one example. Okay. And then finally, for those who don't have technology available, of course, there's the CS Unplugged, which many of you are familiar with. The beautiful part about this is it has things for educators, for students, and even for home, at home use. And so things from everything from printables to actual activities that they can do together. So nice resource. And that's
Thanks,
it for me.
Anna.
Thanks.
I'm gonna move on to networks on the internet, and we go back to Janine. Thank you, Shane and Pam.
All right, thank you for the wonderful resources. And as they were talking, I was putting the links into the agenda. So check the agenda for all of the links. And if I left anything out, Pam or Shane or anyone else, just add it to the agenda. And the rest of you have access to all of the links in that agenda. So thank you for those wonderful resources. So what we're going to do now is go over just a few standards that maybe relate to networks and the internet. So here we go. And so we tried to choose various standards that could relate to what we're discussing today. So one is use strong passwords to protect devices and info from unauthorized access. The next one is to brainstorm ways to improve the accessibility and usability of technology to meet the diverse needs of others. And then systematically identify and fix problems with computing devices and their components. So at the beginning, remember I asked you, what causes technology glitches during virtual meetings? Knock on wood, so far we're good. But, they always happen. And, earlier this year, I had a really old router. And every time I would go into a virtual meeting, actually it was last year, I would have glitches. People say, Janine, you're frozen. We can't hear you. Go back in, come out, go out, come back. So I've really realized that my router was old. So I had my son replace it when he was here visiting. And that seems to be, work better for me. So, just trying to problem solve and figure out what the problem is and then how to get rid of the problem and, make things work better. That's one of the standards. So I was reading this article from Civil Beat, and it said the pandemic, what we found out during the pandemic was that broadband is essential, right? We found out that if you don't have it or it doesn't work well, then all these virtual meetings and distance learning may not be optimal, right? And we found that out, right? Certain areas of our state don't have good internet. Certain areas of the island, like when I go to the North Shore, my cell phone doesn't work very well on the North Shore, even though I think I have a good plan. So this article, you can read it on your own time when you have free time, of course. But basically, they're trying to figure out where on the island people don't have broadband or good access, because a lot of that information is proprietary. The companies don't want to share where they have, where they've got their internet going, because then the competition will know, and then I guess they don't want the competition to know. So what this group is doing is trying to find out through kind of like crowdsourcing where internet is good and where it's not. So if you click on the link, there's a survey, and in the survey you can take a speed test. So there's the Ookla speed test or the MLab speed test. Would you be able to click on one of those, Faith, so we can see how fast her computer is going?
Hold on.
Or if you go to the agenda, you can test out your computer. Actually, why don't we try that too? If you can, go to the agenda, and I'll put the agenda link into the chat again. Go to the agenda and go down to the part where we're talking about speed tests. It's in brown, the Ookla speed test or the MLab speed test. And try taking one of those and tell us what your computer download speed is and upload speed is. see like Pam saying well, I used to work at Wilson Elementary, Honolulu district office. And yeah, she says they have to go outside to get a cell phone connection. Same thing with OSID. Apparently the walls are like solid concrete. And so we have to go outside of our building sometimes to make a phone call because we don't get a good signal inside our building. So you can see Faith's upload and download speed. Okay, great. 16.95 for download and upload is 8.39. So what does that mean? Did anybody else take the speed test? Shane, wow. 430, 50. I don't know what all those numbers are, but he did do the speed test. 430? Wow. You must have like boosted broadband. So anyway, what they're doing is trying to find out, still waiting for it to connect. So what they're doing is trying to find out where on the islands, you know, we've got good internet and not so good internet, and they're trying to map it out. Okay. And oh, Clifford Neal. Whoa.
Oh.
So I heard from people like, you know, if they had 3 kids at home and 2 people working and they were all on WebExes or virtual conferences, Zoom calls, whatever, it got to be a little, it got to be a little challenging. Not enough broadband or internet or bandwidth. Okay, so next slide. So again, what I just said previously was, you know, we learned from the pandemic that internet service is very important and not everyone has it. Okay, and you can read this link here about, you know, others who had inferior service or none at all, and it shows what we're trying to find out where the needs are. We kind of know, but with this data, maybe we can find out, you know, where we really need to focus. Okay, next slide.
Oh, and Shane raised his hand.
Yes, Shane.
So actually, Janine, right now, if I'm not mistaken, every Wednesday morning, there is a broadband HUI meeting that is run by Bert Lum, and they're actually talking about that exact same thing, and they bring up a lot of concepts, and all of the telecom companies are meeting together to figure out, for instance, how do we get internet to HANA?
Yeah.
With land, it's not just the telnet companies, but also with land being sacred, how do you run huge telecom pipes through that land? Somebody has to make compromises and give, or you just have to live it the way it is, right? And
So we don't have
that's
a
the
30-meter
discussions they're having right
thing
now.
happening.
Yeah.
And then Bert Lum is mentioned in the article too that I mentioned. So yeah, what Shane is saying is exactly what's happening now. And those are some good points about, yeah, how do you bridge technology and be respectful of the culture also. So anyway, thank you for sharing your upload and download speeds, but do you know what they mean? What does upload mean? What does download mean? So if you click on that link there, you can learn, I'm not gonna go over it because we're short on time, but you can check how to check your internet speed, and it gives you, maybe you can click on that. Would you be able to click on that? Okay. You can see some of the possible reasons why your internet is fast or slow, or how you can fix it. So it tells you what the speed test measures, what's the download speed, what's the upload speed, latency. What is latency? That's also important. And if you scroll down, what determines your speed, how to get the most accurate speed, okay, and what do your results mean? Okay, and I thought this was really useful because I didn't quite know what my download speed and upload speed meant. Okay, all right, so I'm going to the next slide. Thank you, Fade. And I'm curious to know why some people have like 200 something for their 400 something for their download speed, and then Carrie and Faith had like in their, you know, like 28 and 16 or something. Why is that? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Faith now for passwords.
Okay, thanks, Janine. So yeah, another component of this whole network and the internet is really protecting your information, because we don't want, you know, cyber security problems and issues and your information getting out there. So a key piece to that is creating strong passwords. And so if there's a link down here to see the whole article, but basically what it's saying is to create a strong password, it should be really random, something that you can't, isn't intuitive to guess, like using the at sign for A and, you know, stuff like that, that people can figure out. It should be no shorter than 17 characters. And different for each account and changed every 90 days. You know, I saw a little poster at one of the schools and it said, your password should be like your underwear. Change it often, don't share it, keep it private. So, and some more tips on how to protect your password and select wisely and strong passwords. Then we also wanted to share, talking about the internet and networks. There's an author, Linda Lucas, and she's written 3 Hello Ruby books. And the one we're sharing today is Expeditions to the Internet. And in it, it's a story, but there are teaching elements as well. And so here is Ruby and Julie, and they're best friends. Sometimes they argue, but pretty much they find that being friends is more fun. And so they decide on this snowy day that they want to do something out in the snow, and they go through a bunch of different ideas and finally decide to create a snow internet. And so Julie goes out to look for friends to help with this snow internet, and she falls through some thin ice, and the lesson she learns is to have been more aware or alert to warning signs and being careful on the thin ice. So when she returns to that area they were going to build the internet, they find that, oh, because of all the friends and the work of many, the snow internet has been complete. And so basically, they realized that the internet is made of a lot of small pieces all joined together, and it wouldn't be possible without lots of friends chipping in. And at the back of the book, there are a bunch of exercises and activities that students can go through to understand how many computers connected together form that network, and different network patterns that are used, like star patterns or different ways of, the architecture to make that network. And then to borrow the book and this or any other audio book or electronic book is to go to this Sora app and use their HIDOE ID number and peruse through the collection and find something that you would enjoy. So here are the standards that we covered today, just kind of to make full circle. And we have a random name generator to pick up someone to win a prize for today. So I'm going to maybe turn the screen over to Shane. I'll stop.
All right.
I'll stop
Let's
sharing the screen.
see what we have.
And
So all hosted employees are exempt, or do I add in them too?
Thank you.
I'm putting in Charles too, and do I put Charles and Terry in there?
not necessary.
No, okay, I'll take them out. Sorry, Charles and Terry, but you get nothing. So,
Sorry.
all right, just checking. I got Alicia, Carrie, Clifford. I've got Kelsey, Crystal, and Renee. All right, let's see how this
Ooh, I'm so
goes.
excited. Feel like in Las Vegas.
Looks like Clifford. Good
Yay.
job, Mr. Lim. Good job. Look at you, HSJ shirt and all.
And you know what? We'll do one more. Can you do
One
one
more.
more?
Okay, I'm gonna remove Clifford's name though.
Okay,
Right? So you can't win
if
two.
it's not
So.
asking too much, can you put Charles and Terry back in?
All right, we'll put Charles. Now they got a chance. So, and
Sorry.
all right, we'll put them in there. Okay, here we go. Oh, just missed it, Terry. I'm so sorry, but Alicia wins this one.
Yay. And on the last slide, there's a feedback form. If you could click on that and give us some feedback on how you like our sessions, and we always try to really look at that and make each one a little bit better. So thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate your attendance and participation, and we hope you gain something from and hopefully next year you're able to go to the CSTA virtual conference, or it might be face-to-face, because as Shane and Pam shared, there's a wealth of resources and information shared during those conferences, and easy to find lots of things to take back to your schools and classrooms. So thanks again for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much, everyone. Like we have even one person on maternity leave, I noticed up above. So thank you for taking time out of your maternity leave. I think it was Crystal. And then please fill out our feedback form, because we use it to make the next session even better. So again, here's the feedback form in the link, and we do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day. And we will repeat this in the afternoon, but we'll have Alita from AMR complex area, because Pam has a prior appointment. So thank you, Pam and Shane, for taking time out of your busy schedules to share your mana'o with us. And I'm going to stop the recording now. Because I keep forgetting to do that. I'm going to stop. All right, now we can go wild. No, just crazy. Joking. Stop the
Thanks,
recording. Wait, let me do
everybody.
that again. Stop the recording.